Today I'm making my meatloaf recipe. Begin by preheating your oven to 350 degrees. And then crack an egg. You only need one for a pound and a half of meat. And then you're going to add your meat, a pound and a half. I use mixed meat, ground beef, lamb, and pork. But you can use just beef, that's fine as well. Then I add a quarter onion, finely chopped. After that, I'm going to cut some mushrooms, maybe 4 or 5. You can use white mushrooms, you can use button mushrooms. It doesn't really matter, and you don't have to use a lot, but it adds a little bit of moisture so your meatloaf doesn't get dry. Next, 1/3 to a 1/2 cup of breadcrumbs. If you're using pound and a half of ground meat, then use a 1/2 cup. If you're using just a pound, then a 1/3 cup of breadcrumbs. Next up, Worcestershire sauce. I use about a tablespoon or a little bit more. And then your seasonings, pretty simple, just ground pepper and some salt, some coarse salt. I use a tablespoon. And then you mix all those ingredients into your meatloaf. Try not to overmix because that makes the meat a little tougher, but it should all be blended. And of course, you can use a food processor if that makes things easier for you. You want to spray your baking sheet with baking spray, and then put your meat on that pan and shape it into kind of a rectangle meatloaf. Doesn't have to be perfect, but as rectangle as it gets, and make sure it's not too high so it doesn't take too long to bake. Voila! Now it goes into your oven, and it's going to go there at 350 degrees for 30 minutes. And while it's baking, you're going to make your glaze. Now the glaze is going to be just 2 simple ingredients. Ketchup, you need a 1/4 cup of ketchup, and you need a 1/4 cup of brown sugar. It doesn't have to be light brown sugar, any kind of brown sugar, and you can always use less if you want. So mix it up, stir it. It takes a little bit of time to stir it well, so make sure it's really well blended and mixed. Once 30 minutes are up, you're going to get your meatloaf out of the oven and then glaze it. Glaze it with that ketchup and brown sugar mixture. Try to glaze it around the entire meatloaf, on the top, on the sides. Kind of spread it all around. Doesn't have to be perfect, but it should be kind of evenly covered. It adds a little bit of that extra umami flavor because of the sweetness that is mixed with the saltiness. And then just for a little extra touch, I like to add a sprinkle of salt on top of the meatloaf before I put it back into that 350 degree oven for another 20 minutes. And there it is. Make sure you check for doneness. It should be at least 160 degrees. So I kind of check it throughout because different meats, different cooking temperatures, but make sure it's no lower than 160 all throughout. And then all you have to do is serve. I love my meatloaf with mashed potatoes and green beans. absolute ultimate comfort food. Of course, we got a taste. Delicious.